Hey guys, and welcome back to today's episode of Glory Hunter. We are back today with episode 4 of the series, and we actually begin today's video by taking a look at the trophy room, where of course we will be looking to win both the La Liga and the Copa del Rey during our first season in Spain, alongside of course the Champions League, which we are just about hanging on to our chances of progressing. I've got a bit of work to do, but before that, we will jump into our fixtures for the month of October, where we begin with an away trip to the San Moix Stadium to take on Mallorca in the first game of the month being away from home. We then jump back to the Metropolitano to take on Real Sociedad before having back-to-back away games. First in a huge crunch match in the Champions League away in Belgium to take on Club Brugge, and then travelling to Rayo Valladolid back in La Liga before we finish the month with two simmed games, first at home to Girona, and then to finish off the month we travel to Elche. Before that, we did have a few emails to have a look over. First off, Molina has once again completed his positional development plan, meaning he is now a natural right back, which is obviously important for us as we do play with right backs and left backs rather than wing backs. So we did decide to put him on a defensive, I think it was the defensive wide back. Defensive wide back plan for Molina now that he has completed his positional change. We then take a look at our monthly scouting updates from, of course, Morocco and Spain. And we've had a few decent players so far. Obviously, Ali and Fernandez have come through and received youth deals, currently sat in the youth academy. Didn't have too much from Morocco this month, although there is Issam Ibrahim, who is the main man, who looks like he could be pretty decent. Could have a pretty good overall start and pretty high potential of 74 to 94. And from Spain, here we see Fernandez, and there are a few other Spanish players who we're sort of keeping an eye on at the moment. Arat Rivero looks like he could be someone with some decent potential. So good to see some youth players finally coming through. And following that, we jump into our first game of the episode, as I said earlier on, away to Mallorca. And as we had a bit of a rest between this and our next game, we were pretty much at full strength for this one. So hoping to carry on our good form at the start of the season. Good start to the league campaign. You can see the team here. It was pretty much our strongest lineup. We did have Joao Felix starting behind Angel Correa in this one. Felix and Griezmann both sort of jostling for that number 10 position in behind the striker. Again, with Correa and Mateus Cunha, same thing sort of applies for those two. But the first chance of the game would fall to Mallorca as they played a free kick short. They were just sort of playing the ball around the edge of our box. The ball was played inside to the number 12, who squared it across to Angel, and within 5 minutes, Mallorca took, I suppose, a shock lead, even being at home against us here. Ball played across to Angel, and he couldn't really miss from there. Puts it in past Jan Oblak, and we kind of had to wake up from there. From the sidelines, I was shouting at the boys saying it's not good enough. But obviously, like I say, it was my first game of the day, so it took me a little while to get going. But in the 39th minute, playing the ball around the Mallorca box, and it was our Angel who restored the 1-1 scoreline, got us back on level terms as the ball was played into him from, I believe, Marcos Llorente. Felix on the edge of the box gets a little bit lucky, drills the ball into Llorente, who plays it across to Correa, who just sweeps it home first time past the Mallorca keeper. And that is how we would go into the break, 1-1, still deadlocked with Mallorca. Quite a bit of work to do in the second half. And it didn't take us long, only 6 minutes into the first half, as the ball was played over the top from Felix to Correa. I thought he was away from the man, but he did brilliantly to get back and block the shot. But it wasn't the greatest clearance as Carrasco heads the ball back inside to Angel Correa. He gets the ball down, shoots low and hard, but it's a good save from the Mallorca keeper to turn it behind. And as Carrasco's corner comes in, we're keeping the pressure on. It's Llorente's header again, as you can see here. Gets in front of his man, heads toward the far corner, but it's a great save by the keeper. But keeping that pressure on, Carrasco's corner again, played into Correa, but unfortunately this time it would be cleared. But just 5 minutes later, another corner. Llorente's up for it this time, and what a header from the Spaniard. Similar to the one we saw just a few moments ago, as he gets up above his man, gets across him at the near post and heads for the far corner. The keeper couldn't get there. You can see a bit of a block from Correa at the near post. He gets up in front of his man, Llorente, and the keeper does a little sort of Superman dive, doesn't get near it, trying to sort of make a save for the cameras, doesn't extend his arm out. And as Llorente's header nestles into the side netting, he gives us a 2-1 lead. And after being a goal down, this is exactly sort of how we've played this year. Even when we've gone behind, you know, we're the top scorers in the league. We always feel confident that we can get back into any game. And Mallorca obviously had to go for it after that. After Jimenez makes a good few tackles, there's a bit of a gap in our defence, and as the ball's played into Enner Valencia, obviously had a fantastic World Cup with Ecuador, strikes it first time on his left foot. Torres can't get there on the slide, but Oblak is across to push it away for the Mallorca corner, which eventually is cleared and doesn't come to anything. But I'll be honest, this was a tough game. Mallorca didn't make it easy for us, and in the last minute we were just sort of seeing out the game. But as Felix gets played down the right hand side, keeps it alive and tries to play it low into the middle, it bounces up off the defender, and Morata's header, well, I mean, he's sort of become known over the last few years as a striker who misses gilt-edged chances, and he won't get many better than that this season. Just a few yards out, has to just head it down into the goal, and he gets under it and somehow heads it up over the bar. But it did not matter in the end, as we managed to hold on for the 2-1 victory. Back to winning ways in the league, which is fantastic. You can see after the game a bit of relief on my manager's face, giving a handshake to the Mallorca manager. But this was a really tough game, this one. And we had to sort of grind, work really hard for this. But you can see what it meant to the players at the end of the game there. The fans in full voice. But to be fair to Mallorca, as I say, they made this really difficult for us, and it was a really tough test. But following our away trip to Mallorca, we headed back to the Metropolitano to see if we could carry on our winning streak in the league. However, we would make 6 changes for this one, as it came just a few days before a huge clash in the Champions League away in Belgium. So you saw our lineup a few moments ago. As I say, 6 changes for this one, and obviously we were a little bit weaker, but it was Sociedad coming to take us on here at the Metropolitano, so one of the better sides in La Liga. So we had to be careful not to sort of throw the game. Obviously we're fighting on all 3 fronts in this season, with La Liga, the Copa del Rey, and also the Champions League. And it was the away side who would get the first chance of the game, as Sadiq cuts inside with a little step over, fires towards the far post, but it is Oblak who pushes it behind for the corner and gathers the resulting set piece. But you may have seen very quickly there at half time, it was quite a dull game, not too many chances, but again, it was the away side Sociedad who were looking the most likely, had the best chances of the game. Oblak had to bail us out once again there. But as we came forward on the counter, as they were kind of out of their shape, it was Morata starting up front in this one. It gets played through by Llorente, but it's such a heavy touch. Can't get away from Lenormand, and we do eventually get a corner, keeping the pressure on. That sort of high press that we've been playing with, it does come in to looking for Mateus Cunha, but it is eventually cleared. But we kind of keep the chance alive, just trying to create an opportunity. But it was just one of those games where nothing was really falling for us, no clear-cut chances. Had another sort of half chance here with Llorente striking from the edge of the box, but as I say, it was just one of those games where we couldn't really get any clear-cut chances. If either side was looking as if they were going to win it, it did look as if it would be the away side, Sociedad, with us obviously making quite a few changes. We were a bit weaker, a couple of players coming in who haven't played as much football this year, and it would be how the game finished, a 0-0 stalemate. You can see after the game a couple of the players looking a little bit sort of a bit upset with the result. The fans were still in full voice, but these are the kind of games that we have to be winning if we are going to go on to win the title. Our home games, we have to win the majority of them. We know that Real Madrid are just behind us in the league and chasing us all the way. We know they won't go away. We've obviously got Barcelona to worry about as well, a few other sides such as Sevilla and Villarreal, who are generally pretty consistent in the league. But to be honest, I was quite happy to take the point in this one with this huge game in the Champions League on our minds. And we would head over to Belgium following that. It was just, I think, 3 days after the Sociedad clash. So, real important game here. And we were back to sort of full strength for this one. And you can see what it meant to the players. Jimenez putting in a really strong challenge there. And as we came forward down the right-hand side, a quick little 1-2 between Llorente and Lamar. And I could see Carrasco at the back post calling for it. And as the ball comes over from one side to the other, it was Lamar to Carrasco. The Belgian hits it first time on his left foot on the volley, keeps it low and hard, and strikes it past the Belgian Simon Mignolet. You can see Carrasco at the back stick. He's in front of his man the whole way, and he does a really good job to keep that down. Hit it hard and low, and it came at the keeper so quickly that he couldn't get down and make the save. And Carrasco gave us a really important 1-goal lead in this one. And it was him again down the left-hand side causing issues. We knew that this was a must-win game. Obviously, we haven't started particularly well in the group with a draw away in Portugal and then that loss in match day 2 at home to Leverkusen. So we knew we had to kind of keep the pressure on the sides that had taken points off us. Club Brugge were doing well at this stage. And from our corner here, a shot from De Paul blocked and Club Brugge come on the counter. And I just couldn't sort my player switching out in this one. I was kind of spamming the left bumper to switch player, and it was actually Molina who could have gone towards the ball, but I kind of backed off him thinking I was going to be controlling another player. And it is the Spaniard Ferran Jutgla who runs through, and I sort of brought out Oblak to narrow down the angle, and he just lifts it over him with his left foot. It's a fantastic finish from the Spaniard against, obviously, ourselves from Spain. I thought the touch just sort of took him a little bit wide of the goal. Started to bring Oblak out, that touch there, but he just lifts it over our captain. You can see it's a bit of a hopeless dive towards the ball. And against the run of play, really, we'd been the better side. Club Brugge get back into the game, pull the scoreline back to 1-1, and I was thinking, not again in the Champions League. We've done so well in the league. We've been absolutely fantastic, but in this one, pegged back again, and more woes for us in the Champions League. And from the kickoff, as we were trying to play out from the back, Club Brugge thought they might have a chance to sort of win the ball back high up the pitch, but as we are the ones to regain possession, we come forward, and they were playing a 3 at the back in this game, and I was thinking if we can get the ball forward quickly, we can get at them. And as Antoine Griezmann unleashes one from quite far outside the edge of the box, well, Simon Mignolet will not want to see this one again. You'll see it on the replay in just a moment. It's one that I would expect him himself would expect to save. It's not quite in the top corner. You can see the Atletico Madrid fans completely berserk in the stands in Belgium. But as the ball is played back into Griezmann by Llorente, unleashes the finesse shot, and it's a good strike from Griezmann, don't take anything away, but this angle gives it the best sort of, well, does it justice really. You can see it's not quite in the middle of the, in the corner, it's more in the middle of the goal, and I think the keeper will be disappointed. But another huge goal for us, put us back into the lead. But Club Brugge were not lying down in this one, as Skov Olsen comes down the right hand side. I thought I'd done enough with Pau Torres to hold him up, kind of jockeying the man, didn't want to dive in. But as he pulls the ball back to Yaremchuk, it is the Ukrainian striker who takes it first time on the volley. Fantastic strike. Kind of runs free into the penalty area on the 6-yard box, hits it first time on the volley and gives them the lead. And we would be deadlocked for a little while. We made a few changes with around 20 to go, but as Vanaken stood over the free kick, it looks as if it's headed for the top corner, and it's a fantastic save from the captain, Jan Oblak. You can see it's nestling in that top corner. It gets across and pushes it behind for the set piece for Club Brugge. But we were really starting to struggle. There was a lot of pressure on us. We knew we sort of had to get the win in this one. We would eventually clear the ball, but with only 20 minutes to go, we knew we needed to find another goal, so we started to push. Carrasco has an effort there, saved by Mignolet. Pushes it behind for a corner, and the Belgian, back on home soil, puts it into the middle, but it is eventually cleared out to Koke, who strikes for goal, and this one is a little bit more comfortable for the Belgian shot stopper. But that was our last chance of the game. Didn't really create a lot in the last 10 minutes. We were pushing, but it wasn't meant to be. It's another setback in the Champions League, and you can see from the group stage there, no wins in our first 3, 2 draws and 1 loss, a -1 goal difference, and most importantly, only 2 points on the board leaves us bottom of the group. So it was definitely 2 points dropped in that game, and there is a lot of work to be done heading into the reverse fixtures in the Champions League. We know we've got our work cut out, and we're sort of hitting maybe a little mini slump towards the back end of the start of the season. But we would return back to La Liga action here with an away visit to Rayo Vallecano, and this was a real boring game. I'll be honest, guys, not a lot happened in the first half. It was 0-0, and there wasn't even a single highlight to be shown. So we knew again from after a couple of sort of poor displays, obviously the 0-0 against Sociedad, and then being held in Belgium, we knew we had to pick it up. And again, there weren't many chances in this one, but Correa had an effort saved by the keeper, and as we had a corner, Llorente kept it alive, swung it back into Torres, but we get caught a little bit short on the counter. Former Swansea player Mesa plays it out wide, and as Reguilon misses his tackle here on Monchu, we've got players out of the game. The ball's played into McLaren, and I was sort of anticipating the shot. Didn't see the cutback to Monchu, and again, with just 19 minutes to play, we go behind, and our little slump continues here. As I say, drew 0-0 with Sociedad, and then dropped points in Belgium in the Champions League. But we started the season so well, and we're just, it happens to the best of teams, but we're just starting to lose our way a little bit. Obviously, towards the start of the season, we had a pretty settled lineup, but now playing in 2 sort of competitions that we're really looking to win all of our games in, it's causing us a few issues. And with just 5 minutes to go, as Valladolid came forward again, it's Oscar Plano who was through, and I just sort of started to bring out Jan Oblak just to sort of put him off, and it worked. As he tried to go for the chip, didn't work. Oblak pings the ball out to Carrasco. We know that this is probably going to be our last chance to get anything from the game. Cunha and Felix off the bench combine, and as Felix pulls it back to Carrasco, one touch out of his feet, and he slams it home with just a minute left on the clock, runs to the camera, and I mean, if it wasn't for this guy recently, we would have been really struggling. Scored the opening goal at in Belgium against Club Brugge, and here saves us on the penalty spot, just slams it home before the keeper could get across, and it was pretty much the last kick of the game. Following the kick-off from Valladolid, the final whistle would eventually go. And although we were happy that we rescued a point in this one, it does feel again like it's 2 points dropped, and we can't afford that in the league. Obviously, as we mentioned earlier, with Real Madrid and Barcelona in La Liga always so dominant, especially Real Madrid, they got a real super team. and we really have to make sure that we're keeping up with them. We don't want to let them pull away, because as soon as they do, it's going to be so hard to get back into it. And the camera panned to Carrasco at the end of the game, and he has been the main man as of late. But yeah, really need to sort our form out, and we do end today's episode off with a couple of simmed games, and we really needed to get back to winning ways. And as Lamar came forward down the right hand side here, shot comes in eventually from, I think it was Thomas Partey. Shot is saved onto the post, and it's that man again, the Belgian Yannick Carrasco, who taps the rebound home in what was a much needed win for us. Just a 1-0 victory. Carrasco's goal, the only goal of the game. Not many chances again in this one, but the single goal enough to win us the game. And I am a little bit worried that the goals are starting to dry up. We were quite free scoring at the beginning of the season. Obviously scored 2 in Belgium, but also conceded 2 in that one. Only the one against Valladolid and 1 in the last game as well. But as we travel to Elche, again needing to continue, needed to start picking up some more convincing wins. And as João Felix early into the second half gives us a much needed 1-0 lead, I was thinking, right, just hold on to this now. Made a few changes, one of them being Alvaro Morata, who comes off the bench to score our second. And we were a lot more dominant in this one. Obviously, we were away from home, so I was a little bit worried that we might struggle. But you can see we had the majority of the possession, more shots on target, and also more chances. Elche did have a great one there to potentially give us a scare in the last few minutes, but it did end up being quite a comfortable victory in the end. Couldn't quite get the third, but 2-0, much better. Another clean sheet for Jan Oblak in the league. And as I say, a much needed victory. We have struggled as of late, just going into a little bit of a mini slump, but you can see our results here. From played games, we did struggle. We had those 3 back-to-back draws. 0-0 against Sociedad, 1-1 against Valladolid in the league, and the 2-2 against Club Brugge in the Champions League. But we did finish off the month strongly with 2 victories to 0 as well, so getting some clean sheets on the board. But you can see those drop points in the 2 played games have meant that Real Madrid have taken us over in La Liga. Obviously, ourselves, Real Madrid and Barcelona, the only unbeaten teams left in the league. But we have got the best defensive record, which is good to see. We've started kind of slipping up a little bit, but the best defensive record in the league does leave us in a good position heading into the winter months of November and December. But that will do it for today's video, guys. I hope you have enjoyed.